Good morning. It's a very sunny day in downtown Binghamton where I don't live because I live in Shenango Bridge, and that's my big joke of the day. But this is Yvonne DiVita, and you're listening to Smart Conversations. I need to ask you a question, a really serious question, because we're at the end of 2020. And how is your confidence level? This is especially for my ladies, because ladies, you know that having been quarantined and rather stuck at home, doing videos maybe or watching videos, it's not the same as getting out in front of people in the world. And your confidence level may be lacking. Well, we're going to fix that today with my guest, Kae Wagner. Kae, welcome to Smart Conversations.
Thank you, Yvonne. It's so great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I wait till you hear what we have to share with Kae. Kae, let me tell you a little bit before we get started, because this is an impressive woman who's been in business for 30 years, and we're going to get to that in just a second. She's the founder and president of NorthStar Marketing, and she's well known for her initiative, creative direction, intuitive. Kae, I like the word intuitive. It's a really important word for women, especially.
Right.
She does on-target marketing strategies and has successful client coaching and results. There's another big word, results. Mm-hmm. After several decades of creating corporate client marketing programs where she made millions for them and established NorthStar Marketing as the go-to for marketing results, she turned to the online world of helping coaches, speakers, authors, creatives, and subject matter experts to increase their communication skills and master their messaging. Her passion is to help these experts create a new platform of confidence and mastery to use as a springboard for their business and personal growth. And Kae, you have a lot of really good buzzwords in there that I like. I tell my ladies all the time, you talk about intuitive, you talk about mastery, you talk about all the things that we should be thinking about in our heads, right? I mean, This helps build confidence. Talk about that to me, because you are the confidence expert here.
Right. So confidence is really at the core of what drives your inner presence to the outside, right? Because it is that confidence within us that comes out when we are speaking in an interview like today, when we are on stage, actually when we are writing, when we do anything. Yes. Confidence is a key driver to getting our message out. It's also a key driver in terms of being able to continue to get up every day, do what I call the daily grind and the never-ending hustle, to get up and do it and never, ever give up. Now, your confidence can get dinged by things on the outside, like you were talking about, Yvonne, the COVID that we experienced this year, and the attendant things that happened from that, the political environment that we found ourselves in, things that were external that impacted our ability to be as confident as we normally would be. Fear, the unknown, not knowing when things were going to get better, creates an environment that just suppresses the confidence in almost everyone to some degree or another. But confidence can spark again and can be increased, and you can take confidence into mastery. And when you have mastery, you can do everything that you set out to do. And I have a formula for mastery I'd like to share with you. And mastery comes from practice, 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 then deliver, deliver, deliver. And then this is the part most people miss, is debrief. So when I work with people, I am like, and this applies to anything that you want to master: practice, delivery, debrief. So let's say that you want to learn a new skill You find out what you need to do. You practice, practice, practice. You do it, you do it, you do it. And then you need someone to debrief with. And that's where a coach comes in, actually, Yvonne. When you are working on increasing your skill sets as a coach or being coached or writing, speaking, delivery, first practice, then the delivery. But you've got to have someone who can give you the outside objective view
Yeah.
for debriefing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really powerful
Mhm.
because we don't do the debriefing.
Right.
So often we feel so relieved after the delivery.
Yes.
And the thought of doing the debriefing is scary, isn't it?
Mhm. It is. It is.
But it has to be done.
Yeah. And particularly for people who may be new to doing video or new to doing
Right.
stage work,
Right.
speaking, to actually take the time to watch your video, to watch when you were on Zoom, if it's virtual, watch the video of when you were on stage, and really look at it with someone else who can coach you through what are the things that you could tighten up? How could you be more effective? Make this shorter, this longer, and just give you that perspective so that when you do it again, you have some tools to work with. You have some things that you know you can do to make your talk, your work, what you've been practicing even more effective.
I really love that. And it's not something that I've really thought that much about, this debriefing.
Mhm.
And I'm starting to do a lot of videos. And so
Right.
just as a matter of course, if I'm doing a short 2 to 4 minute video, I definitely want to watch it afterwards. And
Right.
it's so interesting, Kay. I hadn't thought about watching it with another person. Now I'm going to try
Mhm.
and do that. But
Right.
I might see something in the background that I'm like, why did I have that in my background?
Right.
Or I'm often not sitting because I have 2 monitors, and so I have to wiggle around on where
Mhm.
the video is going to show. And then again, I want my books in my background.
Right.
So these are just little kind of things, but also the tone,
Mhm.
the cadence.
Right.
I am very big these days on telling people to learn to pause,
Yes.
because it's okay, that little bit of silence, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, not only pause, but repeat.
Yeah.
So what I find so often is that when you are working on something, a topic or a webinar or something, and you've been working on it for months and months and months, and then you go to deliver it and you go bam, 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 bam. And people, for people watching and hearing you, it's the first that they've heard it, the
Sure.
first that they encounter it. And it goes so fast that they miss a lot of what you want to say. So
Yes.
I've been teaching people to pace, pause, repeat, not direct repeat, but say it again in a different way. Say it again, repeat it from a different angle and
It's
engage
so
people deeper.
interesting, the repeat, because I had a friend who I was working with a few years back, and I was saying, we need to repeat. We need to say this again in the middle, again at the end.
Mhm.
And she was very reluctant. She was like, well, people aren't stupid. They don't need you. I said, no, it isn't a matter of people being stupid. You're right. They're not stupid, but they need to hear it again. Not just because pausing and giving someone a chance to collect their thoughts is good, but also because sometimes if you say it in a different way, it comes across more clearly to
Right,
specific people. Not everyone learns the same way, right, Kay?
right. That's exactly right. And also, you can make points and then ways of getting that information really deeply imprinted into people. And the way that we learn, not just from our head, but from our heart, is through stories and analogies. And as you know, Yvonne, you're a story lover and a storyteller, I know. And we love stories. You know, I do this thing, I talk about making your messaging caveman-like. So going back to how cavemen told stories, pictures, hieroglyphics, right? Pictures on the wall, a couple of grunts here and there that pieced together made a story. And so it's really, you know, it's really not about people not being fast enough, not, you know, about people being stupid. It's not about that at all. It's about the fact that this is the first time they are hearing you say these words and tell this story. And it's your job to make it easy for them to absorb all of it.
Yes, it's always your job to make sure the listener is the person who determines whether that was successful. It is not, you can present all these, and this is the thing, people like to present these facts and these figures, and I say to them, I don't want the report, I want the story.
I want the
what
story.
Can you say it again? That's
Yeah.
worth repeating, the caveman. Tell us about that again.
Yeah, so it's about telling stories the way the cavemen told stories, which they had limited tools, you know, a hammer and mud and water and, you know, just a couple of really crude tools. But they used what they had to draw pictures on the wall, chisel pictures on the wall, and a language of sorts, whether it was grunts or more sophisticated or that, you know, depending on what time frame.
Right.
But being able, because it's human nature to tell stories, from day one.
Yeah.
Even the story of creation is perhaps the greatest story of all time. But stories have been so important for our learning and to be able to pass information, whether it's to be safe, whether it's for generational archives, whether it is, you know, you think about the cavemen would tell stories of hunting. Those stories were great stories of achievement, but they were also instructional. They told you how to do it and what to do. So this whole concept of caveman storytelling is really about simplify and your audience will absorb more. So Yvonne, when I talk about, you know, the program that the Confident Speaker program, I always talk about walking out on stage with confidence and then leaving with money in your pocket. If you don't tell it caveman simple and direct and repeat and pause, you're not going to leave with the money.
Okay, that's, I mean, walking on stage with confidence and leaving with money in your pocket. Everyone I talk to, that is what they don't say it in those words, but that's what they want. They say, I'm writing a book and I want to make money with it. You know, I want to go on the speaking circuit. Now, sadly, these are talented, wonderful people, and they should go on the speaking circuit. But they're also a little bit naive because they think they can go on the speaking circuit and that's where they're going to make all their money. And it's so much more. And there's all this stuff that has to happen. So it's wonderful then to have this program you're talking about, because it actually gives them the tools and the training, correct?
Right.
Because let's talk a little bit about that. Because
let me back up just 1 minute and let me just kind of set the stage here.
Okay, excellent.
So my company is NorthStar Marketing, which I started in 1989. So that's like 31 years ago.
Wow.
And I built that into a multi-million-dollar annual marketing agency. Seen a lot of changes throughout the time, right? Eventually built it into a digital marketing agency. But these two things right here, this was my first book, Power Principles of Marketing. This is the second book, CEO's Little Black Book on Branding. Won an International Design Award for this book. These two books became my golden tickets to the stage. And with these two books, print run of 10,000 here, 20,000 here, These two books made me millions because with books, you're an authority, you're an expert, as your people know, as you know. And so I leveraged that to get on stage. And because I had the steps in place so that when I was on stage, I could then lead to selling a marketing program, then people had a reason to find me, a reason to come to me, a reason to engage with me. And so if I hadn't had the books, I wouldn't have been the expert as much. I wouldn't have had as much credibility to get on the stage. And then from the stage, I had the offer of the marketing programs. When I got on stage, if I was talking to a group of CEOs, I could almost guarantee that within 2 weeks, I would get several calls from the CEOs, VPs of marketing. They would call me, they would say, my CEO saw your presentation, your speaking gig, and he said I'm supposed to actually start working with you. So
how awesome is that? Can you
golden
hold those
ticket,
books up
right?
again? I want
Sure.
you to hold it because I want to say something. All right. Now, the power principles of marketing. When you were talking, you said that these books were your golden ticket, and that cover on that book is golden. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is not a mistake here, and this is not just, this is a golden ticket, and that's a beautiful cover. The cover on the CEO of the Little Black Book on Branding, everybody really take a look at that and see what kind of a cover that is. Kay, I have to do this because we develop covers for our clients, and it is so vastly important to have a good cover on your book.
Right. Yeah. So let me explain this and what you don't see, because you know we're on Zoom. This has an embossed. The lettering is silver embossed. The paper is like a black felt paper, very upscale. And so we wanted to create this whole idea, this whole look of a little black book.
Sure.
You know, like this is where all the secrets are, the secret to success for branding. So that's really was the thinking behind this.
And it's a spiral bound.
Yes, we wanted it to be different. We wanted it to stand
Well, that's
out.
a little black book, so you can get to what you need easily. I mean, hey, I mean, genius. So obviously you wrote these books, you developed these books, you put these wonderful covers on them, and then you developed your Confident Speaker program.
Right.
And today, I mean, you've come like so, everything has changed. Right. And even though everything has changed, there's still the branding, the marketing, and the being able to be a good speaker. That really hasn't changed. The way you do it has changed. Would you agree?
Yeah, so there have been changes in terms of obviously technology, in terms of logistics, and with everybody being on Zoom now because of the pandemic. You know, there's a silver lining in everything in the pandemic for anyone who wants to be on a speaking stage, whether it is to a group of 5 people, 500 or 5,000. This is the time to do it because the ability to reach so many more people is really right in your hands right now. And so the changes are really what's happening outside in terms of venues, video, the ability to live stream, Facebook Lives, all of that stuff is all changed. What hasn't changed is the ability to tell a story that moves people. Moves people to action, makes an impact on their lives. And also because we are speakers, not because we want to necessarily be keynote speakers. You know, my speaking was all designed to build my business, not for me to be on the road and make, you know, money being a keynote speaker, but to drive the business. And so when you take that slice of the market, the opportunities are huge. Every day there are, I think, like 5,000 to 7,000 stages that are open for people to be on. So, you know, that part only increases, but the ability to have confidence in yourself as a speaker, the ability to tell stories, the ability to present your programs, that has not changed. That is so foundational, no matter where you are, you know, on Zoom, virtually, or in person, those foundational pieces remain the same. And so what we do in the program is we take that formula for mastery, which is practice, 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 deliver, 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 and then debrief. And we do that in a 3-month cycle. So people practice, we deliver, and then we actually market that those speeches, and we do a summit, we do courses, we do different things so that the people in the program, authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, content creators, coaches, so that people can focus on practice and delivery. And then we do a summit or some kind of an event, and that builds their audience. It also builds their list. That's kind of a byproduct of it, but they also get a list out of it, which is really, for a lot of people, that starts their list building.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And the storytelling part now, because we understand, and I think we have the same kind of vision of storytelling, I tell people to start with Once Upon a Time, and that's because everyone understands fairy tales, and fairy tales have, you know, the princess and the prince and the struggle and the conflict, and then there's the prince rescues the princess and everything comes out happily ever after kind of thing. Well, maybe things don't come out happily ever after in your particular story, but the reality is that there is in the storytelling, as you say, the way the caveman did it, it was for a purpose. It wasn't just, I'm here just to talk about me or anything like that. And so it's so powerful to hear you talk about this program and people learning to do the practice, 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 deliver, 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 and then debrief, debrief, debrief. And to have someone, okay, this is where I'm going, to have a professional, because we can all probably pull in our mom and our sister and our husband, and they can help us debrief, and that's not never ever going to be the same. It's like I say to people, no, your mother's not editing your book. You know, even if she was an English teacher back in when you were in high school, she's not editing your book, right? I mean, it's so much, the value is in that, those sets of eyes that are looking at it not as, oh, I'm your mother, your friend, or your husband. Totally different.
Yeah. If it's your mom or your friend or your husband, they're either going to, one, love you and tell you it's perfect, which is not what you need to hear, or two, just criticize you and not give you any good input. So either way, it's not a good situation. So you really
if they criticize you, you're going to feel bad. And then, you know, then you can have, we don't want to cause those family problems. The reality is, I mean, let's put it in a nutshell, that the reality is we're talking about people who want to be professional. They have a business. Their book is not just, I mean, even the women I'm working with who are writing memoirs, they want to speak because they have a story, and they know that there is a group of people out there who have been through similar things, and they want to be able to give those people support and whatnot. So that builds a business. And I make them understand that the minute you start writing a book, you have a business. And so now taking it to the next level, you need to talk to Kae.
And your book is a golden ticket.
Yes.
You know, don't lose that golden ticket. Don't throw that opportunity away.
You know, 20 years ago when I wrote my book, my first book, and it was about marketing to women online. And I don't know if I ever showed it to you, Kae, but I wanted to get everyone's attention. So I called it Dickless Marketing. And it was
You never showed that to me before, Yvonne.
The idea was to get people out of the old Dick and Jane world
Uh-huh.
and understand that Dick and Jane grew up and Jane has a job, Jane has money, Jane takes care of the family. Why are you marketing to Jane? And
Right.
so I called it dickless marketing. And yes, it got a lot of attention, but I did make it to the level that we're talking about here. What happened is I ended up creating my own publishing company because I didn't like the people who published it. So that's a whole other story. The thing is that I'm looking now at clients and prospects and everyone I know who's writing a book. They don't have to work with me. I want them to understand the power of what you're talking about and what you're building and the program that you have, because there has never been a better time for this.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this is the time. The opportunities are just tremendous. And what people really need to know is that every time you are in the hot glare of the spotlight, you will improve, you will gain more confidence, you will grow every time. And you
Yes.
just need to step out there once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, every time the opportunity is available.
And it never stops. You never stop
Never
learning or
stops.
growing or
Right.
getting better.
Right.
It's something that, Kay, I don't work with people who come to me with this big, I'm going to be rich and famous dream.
Right.
God bless them if that's, there are people perhaps that they can work with, but that's not my goal, is to make you rich and famous. My goal
Right.
is to teach you how to get your book done and have it be that golden ticket. And
Mhm.
then, you can go to Kay with this golden
Right.
ticket, and now you're going to build. I mean, the writing of the book builds a little confidence, because how much accomplishment do you feel? I tell people all
Right.
the time,
Mhm.
once you get that book done and people know that you wrote a book, people are like, wow, because everybody wants to write a book and 99% of people will not write a book.
That's right.
So
That's
you
exactly right.
immediately have that step up. Well, now what do you do with that? And
Right.
that's what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. What do you do next with that golden ticket?
That's right. Right.
You take it and
Right.
you build
Yep.
confidence.
Take it on stage.
Yes. Well, Kay, we're at the end of our time today. This has been so powerful. The story. I
Mhm.
mean, there's a story here.
Right.
There's the education, because practice, 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 deliver, 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 and debrief. I mean, that is the best part of it.
Mhm.
But the next best part, which I'll be sharing a whole lot with you, ladies and gentlemen, is the Confident Speaker program that Kay has. And even if you're just starting your book,
Right.
that might even be the best place if you're just getting started. Because when you write the book, Kay, if you start planning your marketing and your speaking during that time, you are so far ahead of other people.
Yeah. And that is such a great point. I want to tell you just a real short story,
Okay.
Yvonne. With this book, this is my first book. And this book I wrote after I had been presenting this speaking engagement. I presented for a year, and then I decided to write the book. I took a summer every Friday morning for 4 hours. I would write. I wrote it in one summer. And then what was so powerful about that, and why it's so important, what you just said about that, is that as you're writing and speaking, you get real-time feedback.
Yeah.
You get immediate feedback on what resonates with people, what's not relevant to them, and it makes your work, your body of work, so much more impactful.
Wow. That is, we often tell people to share some of your stuff, like on your blog, perhaps. In fact, a lot of people come to me with the idea that they're going to turn their blog post into a book. And that's okay. I can help them do that. They need to understand that a blog post is not a book chapter. And so there's a whole lot of more work that's going to happen in there. But from what you're saying is so important, that the feedback and the insight, because we don't, I mean, back in the day, we used to say, well, you cannot read the label if you're inside the bottle. So you got to get out of the bottle and then listen to the people. It's like the debriefing. I mean, you're getting the debriefing ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very helpful to do both.
This has been really fantastic, and I can't wait to share your program and make sure that people out there writing a book, thinking about, maybe you're thinking about writing a book. So take Kae's program, and that will jumpstart you, and then I'll help you write the book. But in the meantime, the important thing is this: you want to be successful. And a proven way is to be a confident speaker.
Yes.
We're going to leave it there, Kae, because that's what people need to do. Thank you for being on Smart Conversations. We're going to do this again.